wouldn't let them out. What a message this sends from Ruben Amorim to England, to the Premier League, to Manchester United. What a performance.
5 key steps for Amorim to bring the glory back. Yes, it's not everyone's cup of tea to beat the English champion and arguably the best club in the world 4-1. But Man United's new manager definitely had his say in the match as he waved goodbye to the sporting fans. But most importantly for the red half of Manchester, he arrives at Old Trafford as the savior, the man everyone hopes will run the years back, the amazing records he has broken, the key steps he needs to take to bring the glory, and the unknown link Viktor Gyökeres has had with Man United in the past that you probably don't know about. All of this will be covered today, so stay tuned. Ahead of his official debut in charge of the Red Devils, let's start with something that's 100% true. Based on style of play, silverware, and statistics, Ruben Amorim is the second best sporting CP manager, not just of this century, not just of the last 20 years, but of the club's entire history. Of all the sporting coaches who have managed the team for at least 2 full seasons, which is widely considered to be enough time for a coach to establish his philosophy based on modern football understandings, Ruben Amorim has the second highest winning percentage, just over 70%, only behind the legendary Hungarian Josef Szabo, who had a winning rate of almost 77%. And managed the team between 1937 and 1944. And Amorim achieved some incredible things during his reign, something unseen for many years. First Premier League title in 19 years, after being crowned champions in 2021. Then doubling down that success with another title in 2024. And on top of that, he also won 2 League Cups and the Portuguese Super Cup, beating his former team Braga in the process. Speaking of which, let's talk about a rather interesting question. Who was the man who found his coaching talent? Because when we talk about a young manager taking his first steps on the managerial ladder, there is always a man who shows him the way to this tough and demanding job. And, well, Amorim definitely had luck on his side, having been spotted by Jose Mourinho himself. In 2018, the then 33-year-old caught a glimpse of Man United's greatness, spending a spell at Carrington as the legendary Mourinho took him under his wing. It was undoubtedly an invaluable experience for Amorim, who went straight to work in the Portuguese 3rd Division in Casa Pia, but was quickly snapped up by Braga in January 2020. His debut made him the second youngest manager in the club's history. Soon after, he beat Porto 1-0 in the League Cup in his 3rd week in charge. The amazing part comes when, not even 2 months after his debut, Sporting were in desperate need of a young and reliable coach, and they didn't even think twice about spending the big bucks. And believe me, 10 million euros for a manager's release clause is a lot. How many coaches can you think of for whom were paid 2 10 million euro release clauses within 5 years? Because there aren't many. And with his arrival at Sporting, at the age of 35 years, 1 month and 8 days, Amorim now became the youngest coach in Sporting's history. His impact was immediate, and those 10 million euros were the best investment Sporting could have made at the time. He spent 4 full seasons establishing his own style of play, working with young and motivated players who were eager to develop in such an environment, and winning 2 titles by dominating the Portugal's very best, Porto and Benfica. It's safe to say that Amorim was the man who made Sporting CP great again. But the burning question remains, is he ready to deliver the same results in a bigger dressing room, with bigger names, with bigger responsibilities, and bigger expectations? If we were to give our verdict, we would definitely say yes. Not because we're biased or anything, but because he has proven it in big games. Like in the last 6 months alone, he has beaten Benfica, Porto, Dutch and English champions PSV and Manchester City, and he is second in this brand new format of the Champions League. If that doesn't prove it, I don't know what will. And now imagine all that tactical knowledge and expertise at a club like Man United, where, yes, you have some challenges like media pressure and tougher opponents, but you also have huge financial backing from the management. And if Ten Hag got more than £600 million to buy his shiny names, why wouldn't Amorim get the same resources if, let's say, he achieved some great results by the end of 2024-25, but needs some necessary additions in the summer to bring it to the next level? You probably all expect to see Amorim bring his gem, Viktor Gyökeres, but unfortunately, there are 2 reasons why this will probably not happen, or at least least not in the winter. Firstly, he stated after the massive win over City that he was not going to joke with Sporting fans about Gyökeres' possible departure to Old Trafford.
Gyökeres is amazing. 7 goals in his last 2 games. Are you tempted to bring him with you if you can?
No. I cannot be funny with that in this moment. It was tough for me to leave if I'm starting joking about that.
Apart from that, Gyökeres has already had some negative experiences with Man United, although not directly with the club. The Red Devils' current sporting director, Dan Ashworth, worked at Brighton between 2018 and 2019, and it was precisely at that time when he didn't believe Gyökeres' qualities and decided to send him out on loan. There is, of course, a way to bury the tomahawks and smooth out their relationship, but the Swede himself clearly harbors ill feelings toward Ashworth. With or without Gyökeres, however, we need to talk about the 5 key steps Amorim needs to take to make Man United great again. Firstly, a style of play that works, and if we had to pick one name that Amorim should not follow, it would be Erik ten Hag. The Dutchman arrived with big ambitions, just like Amorim. He had an equally successful period in charge of Ajax, bringing in 2 of his most pivotal players from the Netherlands in the first summer, Lisandro Martinez and Antony. The expectation was that the specialist would eventually build the same structure as at Ajax, but that didn't happen. As the months went by, Ten Hag realized that his style of play simply didn't work in England. So he adjusted, adopting a style of football that, yes, got results and complemented Rashford very well. We all remember his scintillating form at the start of 2023, but that style had nothing to do with Erik ten Hag's positional masterpieces at Ajax. Therefore, the #1 priority for Amorim is to focus on developing his style at Old Trafford. Fortunately, he is in a more privileged position than Ten Hag, because he already has a player who has been crucial to Sporting's success. But more on that in a minute. Now, before we move on, please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy so far. It would mean the world to us. Thank you. Then, after establishing a solid style of play and gaining some momentum, Amorim must bring back something that has been lost in all the years since Sir Alex Ferguson: a winning culture and a sense of superiority over the opposition. Let's be real, whichever Premier League team you support, when you play Man United, especially in recent years, you don't get that same respect as you did 15 years ago. That winning mentality has just been lost in the last decade and a half. Put whatever you want into context: FA Cups, League Cups, Europa League finals. That's not Man United, and it shouldn't be. Man United is arguably the greatest English club in history, and that hasn't changed in these dark times. But the mentality is gone. Man United's place at the top of the league in the later rounds of the Champions League. Do you know when Man United last played in a Champions League quarterfinal? In 2019, more than 5 years ago. And even then, they were thrashed 4-0 on aggregate by Barcelona. And here, we don't even mention semifinals and finals. As Man United legend Dimitar Berbatov said recently, he could see the fear in opponents' eyes in the tunnel before the teams even took to the pitch. That is exactly what Amorim needs to bring back. Fortunately, Amorim already has the ingredients to create such a winning environment. A mixture of serial winners who know what it means to represent United in big games, such as Bruno, Casemiro, and Rashford, and some young talented players who want nothing more than to mark an era, such as Mainu, Alejandro Garnacho, and why not, Leny Yoro. And that brings us to step number 3, building authority. Every player needs to know his place, and when the big boys speak, everyone should listen. You can laugh at us, but take Casemiro as an example. Yes, he's been out of form and probably won't get as many minutes as he'd like under Amorim for various reasons, but he's a leader, knows exactly what to do and when to do it. The same goes for Bruno Fernandes, who had his brilliant leadership moment with Garnacho against Leicester. Now, for another important question: who will be the cornerstones of Amorim's formation? From what we've seen at Sporting, Ruben's most used formation is 3-4-3. Assuming everyone is 100% fit, the most likely starting lineup will be Onana in goal, Lisandro Martinez, Matthias de Ligt, and the young Yoro as the 3 at the back. Luke Shaw and Diego Dallo as the wide men on the flanks, who will operate in both defense and attack. The super important Manuel Ugarte, who has already worked with Amorim, and Kobbie Mainoo in the middle, and Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, and Rasmus Højlund on top. This is the tactical formation that United will be adopting with Amorim in charge. And the final ingredient: restore United's status. You may find this example a little off topic, but there is something that sticks in my mind after a recent statement by Jamie Carragher, who only mentioned Barcelona and Real Madrid as destinations for star players.
Ballon d'Or winners normally play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. they're absolutely the best players in the world. Go.
Such as Trent Alexander-Arnold. And having said that, Jamie is absolutely right. Top players no longer have the ambition to go to Man United because times have changed. But in the past, there was no higher level than the Red Devils. Once you got there, you had completed football. That was the mentality 15 years ago. And that is the final step Amorim must take to bring back the glory. How much time do you think the Portuguese maestro needs to achieve these goals? And when do you see United as realistic title contenders? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to support us in whichever way you find appropriate. Like and subscribe to Footy Flicks, or just check out our previous uploads. See you there!